The greatest moment at Great American Ballpark took place on September 28, 2010. Through the years, the Cincinnati Reds have been one of baseball's great dynasties. They are known for being Major League Baseball's oldest franchise. They have 12 Hall of Famers, hosted Major League Baseball's first night game, and have the only pitcher in Major League history to throw consecutive no-hitters. And going into the 2010 season, they had won 8 division titles, 9 pennants, and 5 World Series. However, since winning their last division title in 1995, they had been mostly a disappointment. Between 1996 and 98, they didn't win more than 81 games. Then in 99, they were 1 win away from winning the National League wild card on the final weekend of the season, but ended up in a 1-game playoff that they would lose to the New York Mets. For the next 8 seasons, they finished with a winning record only once, and fans were wondering if they would ever contend again. Then, after the 2007 season, they signed Dusty Baker, who had had some great success managing the San Francisco Giants and the Chicago Cubs. In the next 2 years, the Reds finished with losing records, but showed signs of improvement as they won more games each year. Then came the 2010 season, which was the 20th anniversary of the memorable 1990 team that finished the year wire to wire and won the team's last World Championship. And even though the Reds hadn't had a winning season since 2000, this year was going to be a memorable one. The Reds got off to a fairly slow start, losing 8 of their first 13 games, but ended the month of April on a positive note, winning their last 5. Then they would catch fire in May, winning 18 games and finishing the month tied for first place with the St. Louis Cardinals. The Reds played .500 baseball for the next 2 months, but would remain in the race, being only a half game out on July 31st. Then they would catch fire in August. After being swept by the Cardinals on August 11th, they fell out of first place, but would win 14 of 18, and on September 1st were leading the Central by 8 games. As the month progressed, they continued to hold their lead, and on September 26th had a 6.5 game lead with a magic number for winning their division at 2 games. They defeated the San Diego Padres that day to narrow the number to 1, but the Cardinals won that day as well. After an off day, the Reds returned home to play the Houston Astros, with a chance to clinch in front of their fans. Going into the day, about 17,000 tickets had been sold for that night's game, but shortly before it started, more than 13,000 people came to the park to purchase tickets at the gate, and by the middle of the game, the attendance had reached over 30,000, and the fans were ready to see their team clinch their first division title in 15 years. Edinson Volquez started for the Reds and had Houston scoreless in the first inning. Then in the bottom half, Drew Stubbs led off with a walk. He would reach third with 2 outs when Scott Rolen came to the plate. On a 3-2 count, Rolen hit a ground ball at third baseman Chris Johnson. It looked like the inning was over, but Johnson would throw the ball away and Stubbs would score to give Cincinnati a 1-0 lead. Then in the top of the second, the Astros threatened. With runners on second, third, and 1 out, Juan Castro singled to tie the game, and the Astros took the lead on a squeeze bunt by Wandy Rodriguez. The Astros threatened again in the top of the third when Carlos Lee came to the plate. El Caballo launched a fly ball into deep center field, and it looked like Houston had another run, but Drew Stubbs would make a spectacular leaping catch against the fence, reaching his glove over the wall to take a home run away. Volquez then settled down and held the Astros scoreless for the next 4 innings. However, Wandy Rodriguez had kept the Reds' bats in check as well, as the Astros held a 2-1 lead going into the 6th. After Volquez got out of a jam in the top half, the Reds threatened in the bottom half. Orlando Cabrera and Joey Votto led off with singles, and Scott Rolen came to the plate. He would work the count to 3-2, and with the crowd on his feet, would walk to load the bases. Johnny Gomes then came up when Rodriguez got it 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gomes would pop up for the first out, and Brandon Phillips came up next. Rodriguez would work the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes again when it looked like he might get out of the inning. Phillips hit a weak ground ball toward third base. Shortstop Angel Sanchez got a glove on the ball, but had no play, and Cabrera across the plate with a tying run. The Reds still had the bases loaded when Jay Bruce came to the plate, but Bruce would hit into an inning-ending double play, and the game remained tied. Then in the bottom of the seventh, Drew Stubbs came up with 2 out and nobody on and doubled to left. Cabrera came up next with a chance to give Cincinnati the lead and put them within 6 outs of the crown, but would pop out to end the inning. The game remained tied in the ninth when 22-year-old phenom Aroldis Chapman came in to pitch. Chapman was a Cuban defector the Reds had signed during the off-season. Before making his major league debut on August 31st, there was a lot of hype surrounding him, as he was known to have a fastball that reached 103 miles per hour. His first major league pitch was clocked at 98, and he would strike out his first major league hitter. He threw a scoreless inning that night, and for the next several weeks would continue to live up to the hype as he blew hitters away with a fastball that reached up to a major league record 105.1 miles per hour. And the crowd was hoping his heat would hold the Astros at bay in the ninth. Chris Johnson led off and got it 2 balls and 2 strikes when Chapman blew him away. Then Jason Michaels came up and got the count at 2-2, and just like Johnson, he wouldn't stand a chance, swinging and missing for strike 3. With 2 outs, Angel Sanchez came to the plate, and on a 1-1 pitch, he made contact, but would hit a weak ground ball short to end the inning. In the bottom half, Tim Burdack came in to pitch, and his first batter was Jay Bruce, hoping to atone for the double play he hit into in the 6th. When Bruce came to the majors during the 2008 season, he started his major league career with a bang, hitting .577 in his first full week, and would finish 5th in the National League Rookie of the Year ballot. For the next 2 years, he continued producing steady power numbers, but going into the 2010 season, no one knew that he would provide one of the most historic moments in franchise history that year. On the first pitch, he lifted a fly ball at deep center field that kept carrying. Center fielder Jason Bourgeois went back to the wall but could only watch as the ball landed over the fence for a home run, winning the game 3-2 and giving Cincinnati their 9th division title. The crowd of 30,151 went into a frenzy as Bruce circled the bases and he was mobbed by his teammates as he crossed home plate. It was the most joyous day for Reds fans since their team won the 1995 Division Series, and they continued to cheer them on when the players celebrated on the field. Cincinnati would go on to win 91 games that year, the same number they won when winning the World Series in '90, but would lose to the Philadelphia Phillies in the Division Series. However, the season was an overall triumph, as the Reds had accomplished a lot more than many people had expected, and had given their fans many exciting moments, and with all the talent they have, they look like a team that will contend for years to come.